And boom. Look at that. Online, instantaneously. So we're live, right? Yes, we are. All right, so we're gonna... I did not mentally prepare myself. I just hit live and I was like, yeah, so are we live? I guess we are. But yeah, we're gonna watch Destiny's... This is a good video. Oh, this is such a good video. Man, I was listening to this while I was doing another thing, and oh man, it just vindicated all of the thoughts that I had with this man. There was certain points that I really wish he would have like brought up, but man, but we're gonna be watching freaking wait, you can't even see it. This guy, Destiny, with some well, the way that they title it, it's kind of it's kind of a little annoying. It's more propagandistic.
Botrix says. Botrix has correctly joined the channel.
Oh, that's cool. The bot has joined the channel. That's fine. We don't care about that. But anyways, basically this is a Jewish lady. She says her name, but I just forget. Sorry. But we'll figure it out as we watch the video. We're not live on Twitch. Yeah, because I can't really watch purely Destiny content on Twitch, which kind of sucks. I can listen to it while playing another game and not get bothered by Twitch, but I can't just purely watch him debate another person on Twitch, which is stupid. So yeah. But anyways, yeah, it's an hour and 55 minutes. It's probably gonna be way longer than this, but I'm streaming it. So if you want to watch this, the raw, unedited down thing of me doing this, then I got a streaming channel. Come on now, you can do it. But yeah, let's just
Democratic Party.
watch
Marjorie Taylor Greene is a QAnoner. She believed in the Hawaiian Jewish space lasers. Like, do you acknowledge either of those things are true? That a quarter of conservatives.
I am not going to comment on any of the teaser thing that this. Actually, you know what? I'm just gonna skip right by it because like I don't care for the teaser. Let's just listen to what they have to say.
Leftist.
Wait.
There was no way I was not going to join this because I feel I guess the only accurate way to say it is existential level.
Also, all the claims that I'm gonna have, I'm gonna I'm gonna have the auto toggle on. Yeah, why not? Let's see, does it work?
Of gratitude to you.
Yes, it does. Yay! Don't gotta touch anything. It just does it automatically. Gotta love OBS, man. And automation is key. But I'm gonna skip to the part where I need to show you guys something because this is very interesting. So right after it finishes, Destiny has a revelation, and it's very. I find it very interesting because it kind of proves the point of like Destiny's actually considering that he might be wrong about the whole, I guess Trump TDS mentality that he has about the whole Jan 6 and stuff like that, I guess. But here, let's just listen to it because like he's contemplating this and he's actually like thinking in his brain like, am I the one that's like, like in the like just brain broken here or something? But yeah, I think
you know we've got our share of
I'm just gonna skip to this part.
Luckily, I think the American people are too smart for.
I have to go into the jungle and do DMT and reevaluate because somebody is like just like detached to a clinically insane level. Like I think it's diagnosable. One of us, when I'm having these conversations, one of us has to be medically crazy. I think it can't be. Something is not happening. I mean, either my mind is not clicking on something or.
That's all I wanted to show you. Yep. You see, he's actually contemplating on this. Now we're gonna watch the full thing. So yeah, let's go right back to the beginning.
I feel I guess the only accurate way to say it is
let me give it a like because this was actually pretty damn good.
To you because you have been such a voice of moral clarity in a space where that is very difficult at a time when very few had that clarity in the space that you're in. And I think I and a lot of people, Americans,
Oh
Jews,
yeah, and well, if you notice that I stopped at around what, an hour 15, even an hour 17 minutes, even though there's like a full hour and 55 minutes of like content. Yeah, the rest of that time in between the hour 17 and the hour 55 is just Destiny coping from that last debate, which was so, oh man, it was so nice to just listen to that, because I'm like, all right, now Destiny's to, like, even though he was contemplating and he was kind of depressed, and then one of his buddies came into his chat. I think what was his name? Freaking, I guess Jess Jet. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but this dude here comes into the stream, makes Destiny feel a little bit better, and then they start like basically patting each other in the back about how we don't like Trump and stuff like that. And condemning conservatives, even though she's not even a conservative, she's a leftist. Like, she's said it multiple times, and if you watch her content, you'll see that she's obviously not a conservative. Like, her views on a lot of things, the only thing that she connects with conservatives is the whole Trump stuff. So I guess that's a conservative in Destiny's mind. But yeah, let's just keep watching. I need to stop pre-watching
I
this.
feel, I guess the only accurate way to say it is existential levels of gratitude
We're gonna
to
increase the
you,
speed.
because you have been such a voice of moral clarity in a space where that is very difficult at a time when very few had that clarity in the space that you're in. And I think I and a lot of people, Americans, Jews, American Jews, feel like your moral clarity was a lifesaver.
Oh, this is about Israel Palestine stuff?
Yeah, just
Okay. Gotcha.
but in general, just
True.
like, you know, at a time when it's like everything is either at heightened levels of irony or moral relativism, like for somebody to just say, actually, like the difference between right and wrong exists, and I'm just gonna operate from that point of view. It's like, as an American, I feel like that's what patriotism looks like today. And like, you and I may not agree on a lot of things, but in my mind, like, my America has to have you in it. Like, if I can't come up with a we, or like an e pluribus unum vision of America that doesn't include somebody like you, I'm failing. So all of which is to say, I'm really grateful to be here. Thank you so much for having me and for everything that you do.
Well, thank you so much. That's going to make the rest of this conversation very interesting, I guess. Yeah. I saw, okay, I'm going to be completely and totally honest.
I really actually, like, I can listen to them talk this fast, but I know a lot of people are going to be like, they're talking way too fast. So I'm going to go back to normal speed for a little bit, because Destiny naturally talks fast.
I saw
Increasing
that you
his speed
had
is just-
a video that was starting to blow up on Twitter and I think on YouTube about Trump derangement syndrome, which is something we talk about a lot on my stream, because I am a obsessive Trump hater. Okay, I'm Trump's #1 anti-fan. But I just found out today that there's a bunch of weird stuff going on at Twitch. You know, if you guys are bored, you should cover it. A lot of weird anti-Semitic stuff. We just found out that Twitch has had a geolocation ban on Israel for over a year for making new accounts. It was very strange. So we've been like,
Now, that's crazy. That is actually crazy. It kind of makes sense because of how Twitch is like supports the type of creators Twitch supports and does not ban, even though they say a lot of like terrible things about the other side. Like, Twitch has a very biased take on the whole Israel Palestine conflict, which kind of sucks because, like, well, I mean, honestly, in my point of view, like, I agree with Destiny. It's definitely anti-Semitic, 100%, I would say. But I don't really come here to talk about that right now.
What?
yeah, we've been covering like a lot of weird stuff going on.
Oh my God.
Today and the
That's
past few days.
terrible.
So I did. So that
And this is literally the only thing that they're going to be agreeing on. Everything else is going to be just kind of Trump stuff, and disagreeing and not. Well, you know what?
that said,
Just
to
let
have
them-
the
let them
excuse of
speak.
I was going to watch the video to prep and I didn't have time to do it. So if you could, do you want to catch people up to who you are, I guess what that video was about, and then we could
Yeah.
have a chat. Yeah.
Sure. I don't walk around calling people like, you have Trump Trump derangement syndrome. You have Trump derangement syndrome. That video was, there was another guy at the Free Press where I have a show who is a self-described Trump derangement syndrome haver. So he wouldn't say like you, I'm a hater of Trump. He comes out and says, I have Trump derangement syndrome. So he was going to write a piece about it. And so they invited me to have him on the show to try to sort of help him through it. And so we did a kind of like, we started it with a kind of fun.
I want to say like 95% of Destiny's like audience basically says that they have TDS and they wear it as a badge of honor. It's kind of funny. Like it's them and only them. Like they're the only people that wear it as a badge of honor. So I mean, I guess you guys rule. go you guys. I guess you guys can all pat each other on the back figuratively.
Funny opening, you know, there's a disease afflicting many of our fellow Americans, blah, blah, blah. But it was a joke. I mean, I obviously think there are many legitimate reasons not to like Trump. I respect many of them. I don't respect all of them. But I would never say to somebody like, I think
also, another claim that I have about Destiny, he misleads his audience on Trump so bad, so terribly, and very, I feel like it's, I want to say it's maliciously. But there was a comment that he made at the very end of his video that makes me hesitate saying maliciously. So I'm going to keep maliciously until that part comes up. Maybe I will remember, maybe I won't, but
I think you're deranged for not liking this person, not voting for this person. The video was my attempt to sort of make him feel a little bit better, to sort of say like, well, given everything that I think you believe, you know, here are the sort of 3 objections people seem to have to Trump. And here would be my way
we're
of
going to increase the speed. And if you guys can't keep up with their voices, then that's a you problem. Because I want to get through this quick because I want to at least be able to upload some of this. I'm not going to get through all of it. Hopefully we will. Hopefully.
And so we went through them one by one. And at the end, he was like, well, I still hate him, but I do feel a little bit better. And I think that was sort of my goal was, you know, to explain to him something that I think is very mysterious to people who truly hate Trump, who don't have people in their lives who really like him, which is how could so many people like this person so much? So, you know, and I think that, you know, for people who truly love this country, though I think you do, people who are true patriots, like people want to understand how the other side sees things. Like I encounter that a lot as well on the right. Like people want to understand their fellow Americans. I think it's only the people in the elites who make money off of division and divisiveness.
I went through myself over here.
Don't want to understand. They want to believe that everybody on the other side is either a racist or, you know, a groomer, right, or whatever it is. But I think average people.
That's true. And this is how I know that she's like a legit. Well, she says that she's a leftist, but like I feel like she's a centrist because. Don't I have another? Do I really want to fiddle with this now? Because every time I hit this, it's going to flip me. Even though I don't necessarily... whatever. I'll just be a little tiny box at the bottom. I don't care. But, she calls herself a leftist, but like, I feel like she's a centrist because, she was very easily, like back to back, able to give what a bunch of people on the right call demonize people on the left as, and immediately go to like what people on the left would use to demonize the right. Like people on the left would call people on the right racist, and like that's an overgeneralization of what they would do. But like on the right, people would would basically call people on the left like groomers or whatever, and that's like an overgeneralization, like from the right to the left. So like that was really quick for her to be able to do that, which is, I find that very fascinating.
Like, you know, really want to understand how their fellow Americans think. And when they get a reasonable explanation for why millions of people disagree with them on an issue, it actually is like, you do feel a relief. Like you feel like, oh, that's what it's about. So that's what the video was about. And I don't think I convinced him about anything, but I think I did make him feel a little bit better.
Gotcha. Okay. That makes sense. Man. Okay. So, well, where to go from here? How much time do you have?
Is that not what you were expecting? Why did you invite me? I should ask. Like, well, I know
why.
Well,
now I wish I would have watched the video. So I personally, I think that Trump and the movement that he represents is an existential threat to the United States and the stability of our democracy. I think that content creators that have.
Well, I guess, I mean, he'll get into it. Like vehemently disagree with that, but okay, keep going.
Been involved in supporting him, I think are, if they're not criminals, they're as close to that line as possible. I think that there's been an unprecedented wave of hateful anti-American rhetoric, anti-patriotic.
I don't get it. Like, he calls them like borderline. He basically just called a bunch of people that support Trump borderline criminals. Like, that's not. I don't know if Destiny's making this argument, but if he was going to make the argument of trying to convince people to not think that way, calling them borderline criminals is not going to make them like want to join your side. They're just going to be like, oh, well, cool. I don't care about your opinion, though. Like, it's just stupid. It's just stupid. Like,
rhetoric, self-destructive rhetoric that has come from Trump and then his allies and then that side in an unprecedented way that isn't even close to mirrored on the other side. So obviously a lot of conservatives that I argue with would call me a deranged Trump hater. But then when I try to get into the weeds on any of these particular factors, they can rehearse. They have like a few rehearsed Trump talking points, and then they just completely and immediately fall apart, and it's very, very, very frustrating.
Just a few rehearsed talking points, huh? I mean, like, they could literally give the same argument to you whenever you would talk about stuff. Like, you literally go down the same exact playbook or rehearsed arguments that you've just been using. Like, oh, what about the January 6th thing? Let's go down all these lines. And that's what you do for everything. Or you say, oh, do you believe in dinosaurs? And you just go down that rhetoric and go down those talking points. Oh, do you believe in dinosaurs? Like, bro, like, they could use the same exact argument that you used to them to say that you're wrong and you're probably a threat to democracy or whatever. But it's I'm not making that argument. I'm just saying, like, literally, like, I think that I'll just leave it at that.
To me. So that question that you also, I rebel a lot. If I ever say anything you want to cut me off, immediately say something. The thing that you mentioned for the guy, or the thing that you mentioned about wanting to understand the other side, or figuring out like, well, what is it? What's driving the difference between both people? Just as a real quick thing.
Actually, no, I know the answer to that question. The answer to that question is actually, wait, hold up. I need to do something because this is bothering me. Actually, before I even answer the question, give me like 2 seconds. Yeah, it's something stuck between my teeth. But let's just go back because I forget what he said.
I think you want to cut me off, immediately say something. The thing that you mentioned for the guy, or the thing that you mentioned about wanting to understand the other side, or figuring out like, well, what is it? What's driving the difference between both people?
Oh, he's about to answer that. Okay, then I'll just let him speak instead of stealing his thunder.
Just as a real quick thing, my mom is from Cuba. And my dad is from Kentucky. I grew up very conservative, very Republican. So if you ask me, like, well, what does a conservative or a Republican think? I think I can tell you pretty easily, like, where the feelings and the beliefs and the opinions.
Oh, so Destiny's going to start talking about old conservatism and not, or pre-2016 conservatism instead of like, what do you call it? Pre-2017 conservative, instead of talking about like the Trump conservatism, because like Trump conservatism versus pre-2016 conservatism are two different things. But like, he's gonna keep using the word conservatism as if everything is like all of these things are just one and the same, which that's not true. And that's like I feel like he just doesn't understand the that's like I guess he doesn't understand the significance of distinguishing between those two. Yeah, that's the word.
Opinions and everything come from, especially around moral issues like pro-life and anti-gay marriage. I understand that very well. I went to Catholic school for up through high school. For the current iteration of this like post-Tea Party MAGA movement, my answer is it exclusively almost is powered by conservative disinformation.
Oh, he does. Never mind. He did just separate them. All right. I take my words back.
And I think it's destroying the country. I think the movement is unsalvageable. And I think that we're like on a path to destruction if we keep pretending that both sides are even remotely the same on this issue.
Wait, how? Like, wait, what? Like, how does that? Well, how does believing, like, I guess post Tea Party, as he would call it, conservatism? How is that destroying the country? Like, how? Like, in what way? Like, how? Like, what's gonna happen? He says these very loaded terms, but he doesn't say like how that's gonna happen. Like, what does that look like? Like, I don't like. This seems more like fear mongering than anything, honestly, because he doesn't say how or what it's going to look like. He just says it is, and it's because we can't have a conversation. And I'm like, wait, so what happens when we can't have a conversation? Or we're not living. Well, actually, you know what? He doesn't even make that argument. I won't put words in his mouth.
And then, yeah, go for it.
You grew up poor also, right?
I grew up upper middle class until I was around 13. And then my mom quit her job for reasons. And then we were kind of financially screwed for about 5 years. And then I was financially screwed for about a year. And then I got into streaming very luckily. So I've had my ups and downs.
Hey, I'm getting to streaming right now. And I'm going to actually fix this automated thing because I don't want to keep clicking this button to keep flipping my thing. I don't want to keep doing that. So we're going to do some producer stuff because I am the producer, also the content creator. I'm every single and the editor and everything. But yeah, I'm going to. How do I do this without? Nah. See, when I get that new monitor, I'll be able to do all of this without like live and without any issues with changing the streaming stuff, like mid live. Because I don't want it to keep flipping. And I did I make another scene for that? I had to have made another scene for that. Max. Oh, this. Yes. Yes. Okay. We'll use this one. That is not on my stream deck though, so I'm gonna have to advanced scene switcher. Boom. Macros. Let's see. You guys can't see any of this because you don't need to see any of this. Honestly, just skip ahead if you're watching this, like the legit live portion, but I'm wait, so number 4. No, number 3 is the one that okay. Okay, so macro 1. Yes. We need to we actually need to switch that one too because I'm using okay, so both of them needs to get switched. This one needs to be 6. Boom. And what is this one? This is number 1. Perfect. So I gotta switch this from number 4 to number 1. Boom. And then if I hit auto toggle, yes. And if I play the video,
So the perspective.
yes, there we go. It works. Nice automation. You've seen that live, even though I didn't show you anything, but it's all right. Anyways, let's just continue.
I'm coming at this from is.
Could I go back a little
I
bit?
grew up upper middle class until I was around 13. And then my mom quit her job for reasons. And then we were kind of financially screwed for about 5 years. And I was financially screwed for about a year. And then I got into streaming very luckily. So I've had my ups and downs.
So the perspective I'm coming at this from is I wrote 2 books and both of them are kind of about the same thing, which is that the real divide in America is not actually right versus left. It's the class divide. It's about whether you have a college degree or not, and that a lot of factors go into, if you have that degree, you're much more likely to be able to achieve the American dream statistically, to be able to become a homeowner.
I admire Destiny's typing speed. Like he literally wasn't even looking. Well, actually, no. Maybe he was looking at what he was doing, but he typed that thing out so fast. I really need to upgrade my typing skills because I type, but not as fast, and I have to keep looking at the damn keyboard. Like he can just look at the screen and just type like this and just start tapping, clicking and clacking, and I'm like, too good. There's lots of things that you need to learn about this dude and why Destiny is respected. He's just not respected in the political field right now. Like as soon as the election is done, I'll start giving him more praise. But until then, yeah. I mean, you can keep believing with your busted takes on Trump. It's not really going to go anywhere. And there's some rumors that Destiny has been rumors or maybe conspiracy theories. This is probably not true, but I'm going to throw this out. But like, there's been some rumors about him like helping Kamala Harris like debate and giving them debate strategy, or people from her cabinet or party or whatever to like help. Like she honestly, I don't know if she actually did get that that good stuff, or maybe she did because her talking points are very similar to some of the things that Destiny harps on, like 100% of the time. But I think Kamala is not really just not that good. But there's this one talking point that both of them seem to share and drive all the time, and it's just not convincing. Honestly, it's just not convincing at all. But apparently, it's like the worst thing since 9/11, I guess, in Destiny's brain.
To be able to retire in dignity, your children will be upwardly mobile.
But no
And if
one
you're
cares
working
about it
class,
anymore because it's
the
been
way you
it's
were for
4
many
years
years,
ago.
it's much more challenging. I mean,
I'm being purposely vague. I'm being purposely vague on purpose because that's what I meant to say, right?
you have a genius for something that's very obvious, but for a lot of people who are doing sort of average jobs that really only need to be done, pretty well, the American dream is increasingly out of reach. So for my second book, I traveled around the country for about a year interviewing working class people from Democrat, Republican, both background, all religious backgrounds, all racial backgrounds, all family, gender, whatever. And what I found was actually very little distinguished working class people who voted for Democrats and working class people who voted for Republicans. And I can tell you a little bit more if it's interesting, like where they sort of, in general, sort of fall on the issues. There's a kind of weird consensus that's happened among people who don't have a college degree. The real polarization is between the elites on both sides. And I think a lot of the conservatives you're talking to are probably in that right-wing elite that does get a lot of money and power out of polarization. But when you talk to average Americans,
she's talking about Tim Pool, even though she's never said his name in the entire video. But hey, Tim Pool makes a lot of money, and but Tim Pool grew up really poor, and he was like sleeping on people's couches for like a good portion of his life. But then he got into a good job and got a lot of money, saved up a lot of money, and made his own business. But hey, it doesn't mean that he grew up like with a silver spoon in his mouth. But so maybe I shouldn't even make that like
whether they vote for
mention,
Republicans or Democrats are
honestly.
very similar. So they're quite left/protectionist on economic stuff. So your average Trump voter would want something like universal health care, tariffs.
I'm questioning the universal healthcare thing, but tariffs, yeah, makes sense because Trump put tariffs. So the average today Trump supporter would probably subscribe to that. But universal healthcare, I don't see. Well, she said specifically Trump supporter, so that probably includes like at least 75% of the people that loved Bernie Sanders in 2016. And yeah, yeah. So maybe I could see it, but I've never heard that before, so I'm kind of skeptical.
They're not against government investment in people who are struggling. What they want really is an economy.
Okay, that's a true statement. They're not against people's investment. They just would rather investment go into other places first before they get to that part, to the social economic stuff. I can agree with that.
That supports their labor. But then also the Democrats who are working class want much less immigration. They're very worried about the transgender stuff and the woke stuff. So there's very little that sort of
Actually, for me being when I actually asked some people in real life, and I was surprised when like like you wouldn't typically think if you're only an online person and you only listen to like the culture warrior stuff online, you would think what she just said is like has to be like false, right? Like Democrats like not like I thought they were supposed to support that type of stuff. But if you actually talk about when you think about there's a difference between online people that claim themselves Democrats and talking to people in real life that don't really pay attention to politics, but they still call themselves Democrats, which there's a lot more of them than the internet people that call themselves Democrats. Apparently, the people that are like disengaged but still call themselves Democrats, they actually do not like the whole like what she said is true. And I know a lot of people of my actually I've seen a lot of people that are like I was going to say like something personal, but I'm going to stick to a more generalized thing. I think there was because I did see a few people of my skin tone, let's just say that, talking about how they feel like they're being replaced by the immigration system that's going on right now. And honestly, it's a valid feeling. I don't really feel that way, but personally, but that's why I had a thought. I'm like, am I going to talk about it personally if I don't really think that's true personally, or at least for me? But like, I don't see like they can't take away my my streaming. So and I like my streaming. Streaming is fun. Making videos is fun. But yeah, so there's validity to what she's saying. I'm just
Of,
that's
I like
all.
after
That's
I
my
wrote
whole
the book,
point.
I was sort of joking and I would, say like the first party that gets to, much more access to healthcare and much less immigration is going to get an immediate 60% of the vote because most Democratic working
True.
class people and most Republican working class people are there. And it's not just my interviews. I mean, I interviewed hundreds of people, but it's the polling shows that. And so the argument I would make to you is I can show you how when you take the personality of Trump out of it, you just look at the policy agenda and you go like issue.
Destiny cannot do that. He just can't do that. He can't. He mentally cannot take the personality of Trump out of his mind and just look at it objectively. Like he just can't. He's emotionally invested in this. Destiny is 100% emotionally invested in why you should not vote for Trump. You should vote for Kamala. Like the whole reason Destiny is voting for is going to vote for Kamala is because Trump is bad. That's it. That's 90% of the reasoning behind why he does it. Like, and then he's like, some policies that are like would be a little bit better for why. Like if it was purely a policy thing, and they took the characters, they took the persona and character away from like each candidate, like Destiny would pick Trump like 100% automatically. But like he's just so emotionally invested in Trump being so bad because of his character, it just blinds him. It blinds him to all the things that for why people for why people are just not like for why he's going to be voting for Kamala Harris instead of Trump, because he still hasn't given a reasoning to what's going to happen for like how like he's going to say that she's destroying the country, and I'm like how how is her talking about this destroying the country? Like how? That is like because she doesn't have the same opinion as you about Trump that you'd have about Trump. Like that's literally what it goes down to. But yeah, let's just keep going.
Issue by issue. His policy, both what he enacted during his first term and the stuff that he talks about now, is where most of those working class people are at. It's actually in that kind of moderate middle. He sounds a lot more like a Democrat from the 90s than he sounds like a Republican from the 2000s, or then a Democrat from today sounds like a Democrat from the 90s. So we could go through that. But I think also, even at a larger level, I totally
yeah, the Democrats has definitely changed. But only because I feel like the Democrats have only changed because of Trump. Like Trump is a symptom of another thing, but Democrats changing now was mostly because of how many, like they wanted to be anti-Trump, and they became the anti-Trump party. Like that's all their existence is right now. Like when you think of a Democrat, like what do you think of? Besides, like, what's the majority thing that you think people that are voting Democrat think, and you think anti-Trump? Like, there's like, you could say, oh, there's some economic things or some policies that you might like, but no one's talking about them. They're only talking about, like, the most prominent thing is that I am not Trump. That's why you should vote for me. I'm like, bro, that's not convincing. Come on now.
Respect and understand people who can't get past the character, who can't get past the, the shit talking, whatever. But I think even this question of whether you're casting your vote based on policy.
Yeah, Destiny can't. He can't get past that. So, yeah, I'm just gonna keep going. I keep repeating myself, so I should stop. I'm gonna let them talk a little bit longer than just keep, because that's gonna be like what I'm gonna turn this like hour and 58 minute, and it's sped up. So this is supposed to be shorter if I actually ran this 0.05% shorter or 25% shorter than what I'm just gonna keep going. I'm gonna shut up.
Based on character or sort of high level abstract ideas like democracy. I mean, of course you would say democracy is not an abstract idea, right? But even that decision,
misinformation versus policy. Yo, you see what he just wrote down here? Misinformation versus policy. Wait, why is he right? Wait, let me listen to what she said again.
Shit talking, whatever. But I think even this question of whether you're casting your vote based on policy are based on character or sort of high level abstract ideas like democracy. I mean, of course, you would say democracy is not an abstract idea, right? But even that decision, I think at the end of the day, today is going to come down to that class divide and whether an American, a person feels that they have the luxury of saying, I'm going to vote for the person who I feel makes me feel at an abstract level better, or I'm going to vote for the person who's just like, I have this feeling like they're going to be able to get the economy back to where it was in 2019 when working class people saw their first wage increases for the first time in 60 years and inflation was still low.
Sure. So, okay, how to start? There are things that I can kind of agree with, but I would say that these things are meaningless because I would say they're like second or third order. So I would say,
Bro, she gives such a good rebuttal to that first order, second order, third order bullshit argument that Destiny just laid out right here. Oh my God. But you don't hear about it until later in the video. But like, I just need to remember that. Bro, such a good rebuttal to that. Oh man. Like, it's just, okay, let's just keep going. Let's just keep going.
that like, if I was to agree that Americans are having broad agreements around policy, it's only happening because on the first order or on a lower order, what their concept of policy is so far removed from the factual reality of whatever it is we're talking about. That like one of the issues that we're having right now is one of the issues that we're having, and I'm going to come back to this a lot, is that the right is involved in so much misinformation. It has destroyed our ability to have policy conversation. We don't do policy in the United States right now.
Disagree, because people are still talking about policy stuff all the time right now, but maybe that's just that's not true. Like I don't like Trump has always been talking about policy. Or actually, you know what Destiny would say? Oh, Trump's not talking about policies. It's just slogans. Oh, okay. All right. What's the difference between a policy and a slogan? Like they don't go as it literally the difference between a policy and a slogan is how in depth you get into what you say. So like you'll say something, you'll have a catchy like a catchy phrase. If you don't put more depth into that catchy phrase, then it's not a policy, I guess, in Destiny's mind, maybe. But yeah, it's Destiny loves to use technicalities and semantics to just be technically true all the time when it comes to Trump, and it's so annoying because like the way he this is definitely like a part where I would say like what he just said right here is misleading his audience, and yeah, I would definitely say that because he's using a technicality and maybe he'll bring it up, but actually no, I don't think he brings that up in this one. Yeah, let's just keep going.
On the conservative side, it doesn't exist, and we can get into that deeper. But I would say that like a really good example of this has to do with I would cite this example. I would say that probably the vast majority of Americans actually would agree on things like a vaccine mandate if we all agreed on the underlying facts.
True, 100%, and what Destiny's going to say is going to be 100% true, 100%.
I could show you that a vaccine was incredibly safe and that the disease had a high level of transmission and was incredibly lethal. I think almost everybody is like, yeah, of course, everybody has to get vaccinated, right? I don't think that even though we're debating over lockdowns and whether we should do them or not, or debating over vaccines and whether or not we should mandate them or even offer them, I don't think the debate is really about those things. I think it's about the underlying facts that we believe to be true about those things. How am I going to convince somebody of a vaccine mandate if they think that, Bill Gates put microchips in the vaccine to make your fall off or something, right?
Or, because like this is another mischaracterization of what most people are talking about. Like, because like no, most people are not talking about that stupid retarded thing that Destiny just brought up. What people have an issue with is are they going to go get a shot, or a booster shot for something that has a less than 0% chance of you dying, depending on your age range. Not less than zero, less than what do you call it? I guess I'll be nice. A 1%. And that's like actually higher. I think for people that are I guess the overall population, like the coronavirus right now has like a less than 1% mortality rate, which means less than 1% of people that catch the virus are going to end up getting they're going to get deleted. Like this is not some Ebola where you have a 30% chance of dying. Like 1 in 3 versus versus 1 in 1,000. Like, come on, man. Like, no one's making the argument that he's making. Oh, Bill Gates is putting microchips in. Like, bro, no one. People that say that are just memeing. Or for like 90% of the people that are saying that are just memeing, the 10% probably actually do believe that, which is I guess, is that really a problem? You're talking about a percentage of a percentage, which is like it's so microscopic, it's negligible. Like, who cares, honestly? But for the vast majority of people, they don't like the why are we over exaggerating? Like, we have these massive lockdowns and and everyone's getting forced to have these things over a less than 1% mortality rate. Or at least maybe at the time it was like less than 3% mortality rate. Like, it's never been higher than 1.6, I'm forgetting the percentage numbers, but like this is for all of them. But people that were over like 60, obviously the mortality rate was like exponentially higher. So like, yeah, it made sense for older people. But for younger people, it's like, and we're doing the lockdowns on everybody. Like, if we lock down only senior citizen people and let them, like, keep them like far away from the mass population, I think that would have been made a lot more sense. But you just did like a blanket sweep. Like, that's the people that see, that's the thing. I don't like how he makes that argument. No one's making the argument that Destiny's making. Like, people are talking about like the mortality rate. Like, most people are talking about the mortality rate that are actually having like a legitimate conversation. But Destiny likes to bring up memes and think and basically mislead his audience, saying that, oh, these memes, yeah, everyone's talking about them, right? On the other side, and basically making the other side look stupid, even though that's not what most people on the other side are talking about, or the other side of Destiny. Let's just say that.
That's not a real conversation. And then conversely, right?
Yeah, it isn't a real conversation. It's because it's just not happening. But like, I already made my point.
An extension of that for this conversation to say that, oh no, well, Americans do agree on this particular policy point. I don't even know what they think that policy means when they're from the right, especially from the right, like, and several orders of magnitude worse than from the left, when the misinformation machines that are being powered from Donald Trump from the top down are so powerful. They are destroying our ability to have a conversation in this country.
Okay, I'm not gonna like waste time being like, well, the Democrats also do misinformation. Like, I'm sure, I'm sure there are things that Democrats have done that you would also be like, yeah, that's lame, but not as bad. So let's just set that aside, right? Because, yeah.
I think that is probably my biggest pet peeve when I argue with a ton of people right now. So I don't think we should set that aside.
Oh, okay.
So as a quick thing, right?
She had no problem talking about it. So, all right, yeah, let's just keep going.
Are you familiar with the Fox News Dominion lawsuit?
This is interesting.
Yeah. Nothing on the left is even remotely close to that. Nothing, right? Would you agree with that? Or do you think there's something on the left that is like comparable to that?
What she says, actually, I would agree with. Because like in my mind, I'm like, I don't pay attention enough. I don't pay attention enough to like actually find like something like worse. Well, actually, I could say the response to the whole George Floyd stuff, that would probably be really bad. I think that was really, really bad for a lot of people. It may not have affected, actually, no, it affected a lot of people, but like it wasn't covered as much. So of course, Destiny wouldn't even like put it in the same category, but I would, because like it affected a lot of people that I didn't really know or really care about, but it destroyed a lot of businesses and a lot of Black-owned businesses. So like I should actually care about that a little bit more than what I'm showing off right now. But hey, I would say that's comparable, but I guess in Destiny's mind, like that's not comparable. But like most people would agree with me, and only people in Destiny's audience would agree with Destiny. So like we're talking about a microscopic population versus what most people would think in this population of specifically in the United States, I would say.
I do. Yeah. I would say that the sort of constant implication that Donald Trump was an illegitimate president, as Hillary Clinton put it, for the whole 4 years of his presidency.
True.
Because he was a Putin plant.
True. And we had a whole 2-year investigation on this. Like, what? And it turns out they had a whole 2-year investigation on this, the Russiagate whole thing. 2 years, $49 million of taxpayer dollars just down the drain. And then they found no collusion. Like literally, the lady that had to announce the information, it sounded like she was going to cry because she really didn't want to say that there was no collusion. But she had to like announce me like, yeah, I'm sorry, but 2 years later, there's no collusion. We did not find any collusion. Then now Destiny's gonna be like, well, we did find some Facebook ads. I'm like, okay, yeah, all right. We found some Russian Facebook ads. Okay. All right, yeah, that was definitely enough to like sway the election, right? To like change the election. Is Destiny going to make that argument? No, he's not, because he knows that's wrong. He knows that's false. He's just like sitting here being like, technicality. Well, we did find that. Actually, we did find some Facebook ads. And I'm like, okay, all right. You're talking about things that don't matter. Like he's talking about something that changed. It technically did change some of the outcome, but like it's so negligible, it's not even worth talking about. Or at least that's my opinion.
I think that was incredibly divisive for the country.
Well, when I
True.
say comparable, I mean in terms of like just blatant lies, right? Like somebody could have that opinion.
See, this is the issue that with the argument that he's making. It's so subjective. It's not comparable. Comparable to like, wait, actually, what does comparable mean? Because maybe I don't know what that is. Of a person or thing able to be linked. Of a person or a thing able to be linked to another similar, similar. See, bro, the definition of comparable is so subjective. My God, able to be linked to another or similar, like things that are like what people would consider something that's similar or not is. It's vague. It's vague, and that's why I don't like it. It's vague. Flank stones and bone stones are flankstone and bone. Wait. Flanked stone and bone tools comparable to Neanderthal man's tools. That's the. Yeah, you guys don't know what I'm reading, but whatever. This is on another. I should actually. Here. Let's do this. Let's do this. What does comparable mean? I'm going to turn this off because we don't need this. You guys need to be able to see when I'm... No, why did I... Well, whatever, I don't care. Able to be compared to. Able to be compared to. Yes, you could definitely compare the divisiveness between two situations. And then Destiny's like, well, actually, like, are you sure? Like, we're not talking about decisiveness. We're talking about lies. Like, but yeah, you could say that was a big lie. Like, like when people kept saying that Trump was like being colluded by Russia, that's a massive lie that people believed for 2 years and ended up having a whole investigation, 2-year-long investigation from the FBI just to find out that all that is just BS. Like, bro. No one ever claimed that, oh, there was some Facebook ads from Russia coming in helping Trump. Like, no one made that argument. Everyone kept saying Trump was a Russian spy or whatever. Basically, that was the main belief and the main claim that everyone was like the majority of people were talking about at the time. But Destiny, but then Destiny's gonna be like, well, actually, that's wait, where is my? There we go.
But
all right, let's go back a little
Hillary
bit.
Clinton put it for the whole 4 years of his presidency, because he was a Putin plant. I think that was incredibly divisive for the country.
Well, when I say comparable, I mean in terms of like just blatant lies, right? Like somebody could have that opinion, but the Dominion stuff was the.
Oh, so they can have a lie as an opinion. So wait, if that's just an opinion, then people believing that the election was stolen, that's just an opinion too. Like if that lie that Hillary Clinton was saying is just an opinion, then people that are also like believing that the election stuff from 2020 is also, that's just their opinion. They believe it. That's just their opinion. And then Destiny would be like, well, but that's not reality though. That's not in reality. Oh, okay. Then the whole Russia thing that people were talking about, that wasn't reality either. So which one is it, Destiny? Come on now. Like his thought process is all jumbled up here. It makes no sense. If you apply it all evenly.
Show hosts knew that they were lying, and they continued to do so because they didn't want to lose their audience to Newsmax and OAN.
Well, if I recall correctly, it was only Maria Bartiromo and Tucker Carlson who were mentioned in the suit, and Tucker Carlson himself had Sidney Powell on and gave her a very vigorous. It was very interesting because he was named in the lawsuit, but his interview with Sidney Powell, he concluded there's no there, and he was literally saying to her, I'm begging you to produce the evidence. Like, I mean, it's a 10-minute interview, and he concludes it, and then she signs off, and he says to the audience, she did not produce it. We are waiting. If she wants to produce it, we'll have her back on. So it was really just the two hosts who were named. And one of them, I still to this day don't understand why he was named, because he gave her actually the most vigorous interview she had outside of, CNN, MSNBC. I will say that, after the 2016 election, 66% of Democratic voters thought that Putin had actually intervened in the voting tallies, to change the results of the election.
And now Destiny's going to say, oh, actually, that's not true, but never actually give a legit rebuttal to that. So I'm gonna look that up right now. Actually, well, first, we're gonna bring up my trusty good old friend Chat. Oh well, Destiny's gonna cringe at this. Chat GPT. Chat GPT, because I can't type without looking at the keyboard. Damn. Wait, what? No, screw off. I don't want you, stupid Leo. Like, what? No, get away. Go away. Like, just look it up. Thank you. Open AI. I don't care for your dumb thing. Okay. What did I type? I did it on my phone. Shoot. All right, let's go back here. We'll keep this up. I'm gonna move this over here because what did I type? But basically, I looked up, I typed in her claim, and then I typed in give me your give me the source, and I found it. And I was like, oh, okay. So what she's saying is true, and Destiny just didn't bother looking it up, but he kept claiming that it was false. And I'm like, is that really false, Destiny? You didn't even look it up. And then we found it.
If we were to compare that, how many still believe? First of all, I don't know if I believe that first number, but let's say that was true. How many believe that now?
What do you mean, how many believe it now?
Well, because right now, 80% plus of conservatives, by reputable polling, 80+% of conservatives don't believe that the results of the last election are legitimate.
That's because the people that are in this election right now are the Democrats. And when if you ask people when Trump was in office, you would see that a bunch of Democrats a lot of Republicans were trustworthy of the I'm basically stealing her argument or rebuttal to this, but she's not going to say it until 10 years later. So I'm just going to expound upon it. And honestly, it's true. Obviously, it's obvious. It's the fact that they distrust the system right now is because they're not in power. But if you were to ask them, if you were to ask the Republicans, back when in 2016, 2017, 2018, whether they trust the government, they're gonna have a much more favorable trust in it than what the Democrats had, and the Democrats obviously had a distrust because they thought, oh, Russia was doing this thing, Russia, he was a Russian prop and all that stuff, and bro, who cares? Oh, when? Why does it matter? Right now, obviously right now it's gonna be the opposite. What? What? Why are you even asking this question? It's just
so we have 66 to 80. Okay.
Well, no, but that 66, I might have believed that at the heyday of the height of the election, but certainly not for months or years afterwards.
Yeah, no shit, Sherlock.
I would submit it's because they won the next election, and if the Republicans win this election, their trust will also go down, because that is sort of the nature of the beast. When you're back, it's sitting.
Okay, I lied. I didn't realize that she said it immediately as he said it, which was, oh man, no wonder I love this video. She was so good. I'm just gonna let her talk.
Your trust in the institutions which served you returns, right? So we will have a chance to compare that.
Well, but the Democrats never ever engaged in a scheme similar to J6 on the level that
wait, the 2-year-long what? Witch hunt during I'm gonna call it a witch hunt because Destiny always likes to frame it in the most negative way possible towards the conservative side. So I'm gonna frame it in the worst way possible for the Destiny side, or whatever Destiny, on the opposite of what Destiny's claiming. So yeah, the witch hunt that basically happened with the FBI basically probing Trump's stuff for the first 2 years when he was in office, basically pinning him down, making it basically stopping him from doing a lot of stuff because he had to focus on that one stupid investigation for the past 2 years, just to find out that there was no collusion. Come on now. Wait, let me go back because I forget
Back it's sitting
why.
pretty, your trust in the institutions which served you returns, right? So
Well,
we
but
will have a
the
chance to compare that.
but the Democrats never ever engaged in a scheme similar to J6.
Oh, that's why I started bringing it up. Yeah, no, there was you could definitely call the whole FBI investigation for the first 2 years of Trump's presidency a scheme to looking into seeing if he's a Russian asset. Yeah, I would definitely call that a scheme. It's a legal scheme, just like the one for January 6th. Like those were all legal. I would.
Imagiana says, fuck Biden.
Yeah, let's go. Wait, did that come out in a freaking stream?
Imagiana says,
Yes, it did.
fuck Kamala. Imagiana says, go Trump.
Let's go. Yeah. Yeah, let's keep going. Oh, you made me lose my train of thought. I
Imagiana
needed that
says,
though.
waits up with the TDS. Haha. Imagiana says, salute.
Yes.
Level that Trump did. There were like multiple criminal conspiracies that were moving in tandem.
Why do you think 66% of Democrats thought Putin had intervened to change the tallies? What's your read on that?
I mean, part of it was probably because of
that's what she said specifically. 66% of people changed the tallies. Where does that come from? Hold up. I'm literally just doing this. Let me not have my face in front of it. Boom. Because I need to figure out the 66% thing. The statistic you mentioned about 60% believing Putin changed the tallies likely comes from a public opinion polls. Opinion, so not the most credible, but I mean, but at the same time, no, we are talking about people's opinions. But polls conducted around the time significant events involving Russia. I mean, like particularly after 2016 election, polls conducted, like, okay, so impure research often guide the public. Well, then, let's take this claim, go here, put this claim into Google, and then let's look it up. Why do I have? %81% of drivers say pro-Putin comments like, wait, what? No, this is something completely different. 2016. Let's see, because I want to find the exact thing that she's like talking about. Oh, wait, hold up. 3 days ago. 3 days ago. Interesting. Interesting how that pops up there. Wait, let me get my phone because I actually found it on my phone when I was doing, because I got the whole chat thing on my phone and I was looking it up when I was away from my PC. So give me a second. It's in my history. I can just find it. Yeah, some polls indicated a percentage. Oh, okay. So NBC News, Wall Street Journal. Believe Putin changed 2016 tallies. NBC / Wall Street Journal. And don't know how to pronounce that. I mean spell, not pronounce. All right, gimme. Why are we getting things for 6 days ago? I don't want things from 6 days ago. I want something from 2016. 3 weeks ago, I don't care about the whole Reddit bullshit nonsense. I know that's going to be biased as shit. Well, I mean, Politico. Let's see what this says. Let me actually. Wait, hold up. No. Wait a second. I looked it up. It's somewhere. It is definitely somewhere in my history. Kill me now. Oh. The nice thing about, or the worst thing about this, the kind of crappy thing about being live is that when you're looking stuff up, you kind of can't, you can't really edit this part out. But during the video, this is obviously not going to be in it. A lot of dead time in space, but it's all right. Where did I have this? I think I'm just going to quit. Yeah, I think I'm just going to quit. You know what? I'll re-find it. I'll re-find it. Oh, I'm so used to. Hold up. United States, 6 days ago. Well, let's use Google. Just give it to me through Google. Hey. No. New tab. This is not the thing that I'm. You know what? I don't care anymore. Let's keep going. It's probably true. I mean, we did find one article, but it wasn't the one that I was looking for, but whatever.
Trump and his campaign's behavior, right? The fact that Donald Trump was openly calling for Russia to leak 10,000 emails on public media. The fact that Roger Stone was openly and brazenly working with.
Where's that clip? Like, it's funny. It's funny how Destiny makes all these claims, right? And this is actually the edited down version of his stream. So his editor could literally bring up all the things that he's claiming right now just to prove that what Destiny's saying is actually true. But it's funny how there's no clips, there's no nothing that pops up. Very interesting. I find it very interesting. Very kind of suspicious, I'm not going to lie, because if what Destiny's saying is true, then why didn't the editor bring up the clip? Why didn't Destiny tell his editor, hey, bring this up so I don't look like I'm just some schizo retard, I guess, just throwing out a bunch of random nonsense and just claiming that it's true.
With Julian Assange to leak stuff about the Democrats that was hacked out of their convention by a Russian hacker. The fact that Julian Assange, who was a supporter of Trump, said, I'm not going to leak anything bad about Trump's campaign because I don't think there's anything that bad to leak.
Oh, okay. So his claim goes from like there's a reason why people thought about this about why Trump was like feeling this way. And it's because of, well, Trump said this one thing, and then supporters of Trump's also said these other things. And now another supporter of this guy's of Trump said these other, I'm like, that's not convincing. Like, you got one thing of Trump saying something off the cuff. Like, I mean, Trump says a lot of stupid things, like that 2003 or 2006 quote about the whole grabbing thing, if you recall. Not the best thing to say. The locker room talk, as he would call it, which is honestly kind of funny. I'm not gonna lie. His Trump's rebuttal to like why people keep bringing up this 20-year-old comment that he said a long time ago. But that was like the biggest thing. Everyone was talking about it, and now people don't care because, like, bro, you brought up this thing, now you're bringing up all these other things, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I don't care. That's not convincing. That's not convincing me at all. Like, does he not understand all the negative BS things that come out about Trump? Oh no, he doesn't. Destiny doesn't. Destiny only sees these few things that, because like Destiny finally just started like within the last like few months just like look into the whole Trump stuff, and now he's like getting all of this information all at once, all right now, and only seeing, and he wasn't paying attention like pre 2022 about the whole political sphere on Trump and stuff. Like, he's getting into, like, he doesn't understand how people felt during 2016 to 2020, and then how 2016 to 2021 or 2020 to 2020 to 2022, and now he only has information from 2023 to 2024, and like it's just the time he started paying attention is the reason why Destiny believes that the stuff that he believes right now. Well, I mean, that's his downfall, and that's why he doesn't understand. He doesn't understand why people don't care about this shit, because they've been saying this. They've been calling Trump a bunch of stuff all the time, all these negative things, but he doesn't experience any of that because he wasn't paying attention. Like, but now he is. So that's why he has his worldview. I'm going to keep repeating myself, so let's just keep going.
I think the people...
You don't think Clinton literally saying Trump is an illegitimate president because Putin got him elected had anything to do with Democrats changing their minds about that?
I think
he wasn't paying attention at that time. So no, obviously.
That there's one quote that Hillary said, but that was after the election, and Hillary conceded that night, right?
Yeah, no, I'm glad she conceded that night.
Yeah. And Trump engaged in multiple like criminal actions to try to overturn the election outcome, right?
Oh, what are those criminal actions?
Well, okay, so we can debate January 6th. I don't think it will be very productive because I think at the end of the day, my difference from you will come down to a kind of theory of mind, an unknowable thing, which is Trump's intention and how he intended that day to go down. I really don't think we're going to agree on that. Can I go back to the policy thing though?
Wow. That's legit. Like, she already pointed out the entire conversation. Like, she said, like, we're just not going to agree on like whether we believe that Trump actually believed that or not. So like, let's just like not go down that rabbit hole because it's just going to end up that way. And now Destiny's gonna be like, but no, we should talk about this because obviously I'm right. Like, Destiny's right. Like, he obviously did believe it. And look at you see all the evidence. Like, and then she's like, well, I don't what he said, like, I don't care. We don't care. Like, no one really cares. It's been 4 years. I mean, she doesn't say that, but like, that's my argument. Like, no one cares. Come on, Destiny. No one cares. Move on. That's 4 years ago. Like, bro, if people don't believe the last election was legit, like, how does that affect like the future? Like, in what way? In what way does that belief like change in any negative way. Oh, you're going to talk to people that may not believe that? Oh, wow. Okay. Well, there's a lot of people that believe in a lot of different religions that I don't believe either, but I don't think they're destroying the country. Like, come on now. It's just a stupid argument. No one gives a damn. But Destiny loves to harp on it. So guess we're gonna harp on it.
I think it's really important.
You can, yeah, we can go back to that if you want, but it will come back here because I think this is everything. Because I think that the theory of mind and all the other conversation topics don't matter because it draws this weird false equivalency of like, well, all these things are happening. It's like, no, there's like a crazy thing that's happening right now, and I don't know why nobody's talking about it. It's insane to me. Like, just
no one gives a damn. That's why no one's talking about it. Like, bro, it's 4 years ago.
is a quick matter of things. Would you agree?
Like, Destiny is so freaking smart, but he just doesn't understand that because he's very emotionally invested in his thought process that Trump is bad. Very bad. So bad. Like, he's too emotionally invested in this to actually see the logically inconsistencies that he has with the argument that he's talking about, and why he's blinded on understanding why people don't want to like see like what the reason why people don't see it as bad as Destiny thinks that it is because no one gives a damn, and Destiny doesn't understand why people don't give a damn about that anymore. Maybe it has something to do with like it's 4 years ago and it's in the past, and whether someone believes the election was stolen or not doesn't change how people are gonna move on with their life. Like, come on now. Like, what's the worst thing that could possibly happen? Oh, we can't have a conversation about that specific topic. Oh, boo-hoo, man. Boo-hoo. Like, there's a lot of people that believe in lots of stupid things, and they still get along. Like, come on now. Like, the country isn't being destroyed by that. Like, yeah, I'm just gonna keep harping on that. Honestly,
that January 6th was easily worse than Watergate.
I'm gonna chill.
Like, because in my mind, there's a thing that no reasonable minds will disagree here. It's impossible to even look at them.
I think it was very, very bad.
It's not even close to Watergate. It's infinitely worse than Watergate.
I mean, worse from what point of view, though? Like,
from the fact that the president was working with personal lawyers and was working with members inside and outside of the party to solicit across 7 states, 79 fake electors to attest that they were the duly appointed electors for their state and to transmit false votes to the White House. To the Capitol.
Yeah, this is him being all schizo. like Destiny like claims that a bunch of people are just like what, believing in conspiracy theories, but then like. Come on, man. Conspiracy theories? Like, you're the way that you talk about this sounds like you're like so heavily invested in this. Like, what he's saying sounds like the thing that he's saying, and the way that he says it sounds like he's trying to make other people believe what he believes, but no one else but his like audience believes in what he's saying, and he gets all depressed. Which it's kind of sad, but it's kind of hilarious at the same time. He gets all depressed about why don't people believe this? Why don't people see that this is bad? I don't understand. Oh, it's hilarious to watch him. Like, it's just because and the only reason it's funny is because Destiny loves to he's a funny guy, and this is a rare case of seeing Destiny at a low point in his argument, because usually he's always at a high point and he's usually right about most things that he talks about, but this one he's just too heavily emotionally invested in to actually give like to understand the other side or the other point of view. And yeah, let's just keep going.
I think he was availing himself of every legal avenue to prove what he thought was the case, which was that he had won, which is something Democrats have done in 2 of the 3 elections that happened this century as well. But I think the more interesting debate is why some people feel the way I do and not the way.
Hold up. We're going to listen to this one more time, because what she just said completely changes, like it's the best or the most neutral framing that you can give to Trump and the whole, like, basically disproving the whole entire 2020 election nonsense BS that everyone keeps saying that it's like worse than like freaking 9/11 or whatever.
I don't know why nobody's talking about it. It's insane to me. Like, just as a quick matter of things, would you agree that January 6th was easily worse than Watergate? Like, because in my mind, there's a thing that no reasonable minds will disagree here. It's impossible to even look at them.
It was very.
It obviously is possible to have disagreements. Like, wouldn't you say that religions have, like, if you're talking about from one religion to the other and they're having like, wouldn't you say that they both, like, people in one religion, people in the other religion have a fundamental, like, or core disagreements on whether I forget how did. Well, you know, I'll save that argument for later.
Very, very bad. Yeah. I mean,
It's not even close to Watergate. It's infinitely worse than Watergate.
I mean, worse from what point of view, though? Like
From the fact that the
what?
president was working with personal lawyers and was working with members inside and outside of the party to solicit across 7 states, 79 fake electors to attest that they were the duly appointed electors for their state and to transmit false votes to the White House.
I think he was availing himself of every legal avenue to prove what he thought was the case, which was that he had won, which is something Democrats have done in 2 of the 3 elections that happened this century as well. But I think the more interesting debate is
Yes, that is such a good. Thank you. You know, this is why I feel vindicated, because of that response right there. And Destiny is like, why did you frame it that way? Like, why did you have to say it that way? Like, obviously what you're saying is not wrong, but you make it seem like it doesn't really matter. And I don't like the fact that you made it seem like it doesn't really matter without sounding like a retard. So Destiny can't say nothing to that. And I love it. I love it. And I love it. It's just, it's so good. It's just so good. Wait, let me, yeah, actually, we'll just use that same quote because like I'm doing little chapters for my freaking editing software, so I don't have to rewatch 6 hours worth of content just to find the one little thing that I want to clip out.
why some people feel the way I do and not the way you do. No, like it's why people are not at like
Destiny doesn't care. Destiny doesn't care. He doesn't care how you feel about it. He doesn't care. He only cares about like why don't people see it the way that he sees it. He doesn't care he doesn't care about your point of view on Trump. Like he only cares about his point of view on Trump. Like that's it, because his point of view on Trump is obviously reality, like in his mind. And that's why later on I'm gonna make the argument that Destiny, whenever he says it's reality, like whenever he says, well, we need to be in the same reality, whenever he says that, he actually means everyone needs to be in my reality. This is my reality. These are my facts. If people don't believe in my facts, then you're just not in my reality. And we just can't, like the country's going to get destroyed. You're going to destroy the country if you don't believe in my reality. That's basically Destiny's argument, except I added the word my instead of in front of reality, like instead of actually just saying reality. Because like that, and that's the way that, well, we'll get to it.
I continue to be consistently impressed with your moral clarity. So I'm asking myself, how come I am not outraged at the level that he is, this person who I respect and admire, on this particular issue?
True.
And I think that the answer to that is more interesting than litigating, because I've seen you have this debate about January 6th so well, and people much better than me had this argument and this debate. I think the more interesting question is why the people who are not so exercised about it are not so exercised about it. Don't know. Is that not like do you not agree with that?
Not even remotely close. It is probably
Yeah, he does not care about their point of view.
one of the most frustrating like gaslighting experiences I've ever had in my entire life is, and I think that this is like it's the ruin of this country, is to pretend that this hasn't happened. And then to pretend like afterwards we can...
No one's pretending that it didn't happen. You just think it's the worst thing since 9/11, and other people just think, well, it was a riot. It was a bad riot. But it's also been 4 years ago. No one cares anymore. Guess what? The 2024 election is coming up. Let's pay attention to the future. Let's do the future. Come on now. We're going to talk about the future, not 4 years into the past, man. Like, come on now. You're stuck in the past. You're blinded. You're stuck in the past, and you're going to feel this way forever. Like, no one's trying to memory hole it. People just don't care about it as much as you do. And Destiny just doesn't understand that.
Just have a conversation about, you know, like, is mom worse for you or is dad worse for you?
Oh my God, it's such a retarded analogy. Such a retarded analogy. No one sees it that way, Destiny.
That this hasn't happened. And then to pretend like afterwards we can just have a conversation about, you know, like, is mom worse for you or is dad worse for you? When, you know, mom spanked you as a kid and dad would, you know, slash your arms with a knife anytime you looked at him wrong. And then to just say, well, I don't think it's worth going into the differences in behavior. I don't think it's really that important to analyze that. Let's just think more about like, well, what do we think about moms and dads?
Are you not curious why?
We're talking about the election. We're not talking about whether a mom or dad is good for you. We're talking about actually, you know what? It's a little bit more comparable than I want to give it credit, because mom and dad, like, they're very important to the child and the future of the child, just like how Trump and I I think it's just a false equivalency because of the over exaggeration. Unless like there has to be, he has to make it a little bit more like comparable for me to be actually be able to like take that in as a legit analogy. Like that's the way Destiny sees it, but like the way that I see it is that your mom spanked you and your dad spanked you just a little bit harder, but then he stopped. But your mom just started. Your mom is currently spanking you, but your dad spanked you like 4 years ago for the last 4 years ago, and then it was continuous for like 4 years since 2016. Like that would be a little bit more comparable. Like no one, like everyone remembers that all the little treats that he would give, like that the dad would have, the dad was still spanking you a little bit, but like I'm just using Destiny's stupid analogy and trying to make it seem legit. I don't care anymore, honestly. Let's keep going.
Why so many
It's going
millions of
somewhere,
Americans don't
weird.
find this to be disqualifying? Is that not interesting?
I know why. And the reason why is because of
Okay,
the
yeah.
conservative control over the media. The reason why,
Oh my god. Now we're entering conspiratorial nonsense. All right, let me actually. Damn Destiny. See, this Destiny has fallen. He's fallen. He's so mind rotted in the whole Trump bad thing that he's fallen into conspiracy theories now. Like there's such a high control of conservative media in the media space. Oh, like the CNN and MSNBC, like they just love Trump. They just love Trump. There's zero pushback. Oh man, it's just oh man, oh man. Okay, let's just keep going.
I know
You don't think that?
I know that. I know that for a fact. Because the reason why people disagree is because they think that there is a factual playing field that shows that both sides engage in a bit of tomfoolery. Sometimes the liberals lie, sometimes the conservatives lie. Trump might have done this thing, but Hillary did that thing. And at the end of the day, we're just kind of seeing broadly who supports like what policy positions. Because for some reason in the media, there's a lot of credibility given to people who give Trump a fair shake, even if he hasn't earned one. And I don't know personally what to do
They do
to
that,
overcome that. Help me.
They do that because I think they have met a lot of people. First of all, it's funny to me to hear you say that you think the liberal media gives him a fair shake because it's I find
No. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I misspoke. The liberal media doesn't give him a fair shake. They give him an over fair shake. It's unfair. The liberal media should be chastising and castigating him constantly, but they don't. They give him a free pass on so much.
I watch CNN. MSNBC, and Fox News all day long as part of my day job. They never have have a kind word to say about that man. I mean, it's literally, he's a plant of Putin. He's a plant of this one. He's Hitler. He's worse than Hitler, like day in and day out. Like it's literally, there's the idea that he's getting a fair shake from them. How often do you watch like cable? Probably never.
I just watched a segment yesterday on I think it was CNN where they have Mr. Wonderful Kevin O'Leary and some other crazy Jennings or some guy arguing against two other people. Unfortunately, too much. I've watched all the debates so far. Did you watch the Bloomberg debate recently with Trump?
Yeah.
That was one where all the conservatives were complaining that the moderator was too hard on Trump. I thought that in that debate, the moderator wasn't even close to Trump. Like, do you acknowledge it? Like, Trump, well, okay, hold on, wait. Here.
No, I don't want you to feel gaslighted.
Okay. Can we just? I just want to like walk through one set of facts. Also, if you want to interrupt me, or if you want to talk about like another thing, you can do it. I don't want to like hostage take you here.
Well,
but go ahead.
I think the reason people feel inclined to think about Trump this way is because, okay, I can speak for myself. Why do I feel like countenancing these policy questions that I really want to get to is incredibly important? Setting aside my own whatever aesthetic, moral judgments, whatever, and it's because like there are millions and millions and millions of Americans who do not have the luxury of being wrong because their bank accounts do not afford it to them, who say and feel and know and are correct that they were better off, and feel and say
Wait,
and
better off when?
Under Trump's first term than under Biden's term.
Trump's first term ended with 18% unemployment, with a destroyed economy.
They don't hold him responsible for the coronavirus, which I don't think they should. I mean, that's, that was a
wait. Then why are we holding Biden responsible for the coronavirus?
Oh shit, you couldn't even hear me that entire time. Oh no. I don't know. Well, it's fine. Whatever. We're just gonna keep going. Oh no. Didn't I just had a whole ramble of something? But whatever. No one's here to tell me that I'm muted. But it's fine. It's fine.
Virus, because that's the...
No, they're not. That's I mean,
if you were to say I'm better under Trump, but ignore the last half of his presidency, and then say, well, look at what I am under Biden, who's...
Last half? What do you mean? The coronavirus, the whole lockdown situation happened literally less than a year before Trump was going to leave. Like the first lockdown was on wait, was it 2021? No, it was 2020. March 12th, 2020, or March 13th. I forget which one. That was when the World Health Organization, or the WHO, declared the coronavirus a pandemic. So that was like the beginning. The lockdowns didn't even happen until April of that year, which was less than a whole year, which 2020 was the election year. And then in 2021, 20th, that was when they would switch from Trump to Biden. That's the inauguration. So less than a year. He's saying, oh, his last half. What do you mean we're going to ignore Trump's last half? We're going to ignore the last, 4 to 5 months of his presidency, because the whole lockdown situation that was kind of like out of his hands that just started. Like that's all we're doing. We're not, like, he over exaggerates that thing. And I find that very misleading to his audience. And that's a bad thing. Like he's basically making it seem way worse than it actually is. And it's these little things over time that these little lies that Destiny likes to point out, or over exaggerations, whatever the hell you want to call it, make it seem like it's worse or better than it actually is the reason why I think he's misleading his audience. Like that's my overall like underlining claim, at least specifically with the Trump stuff.
Coming in, by the way, the United States, do you acknowledge that the U.S. is outperforming every other G7, every other OECD country right now?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So
that's great. Oh my God. He has all these statistics. And I'm like, oh, that's great. There's so many statistics that you believe. Oh, that's cool. That's great. Numbers go up. But like people are looking at their bank accounts and being like, ooh, that's great. This is not so great. Things feel really bad right now. And why do people feel like things are really bad right now? Is it because of these numbers on these other like exchange things that people have no idea what the fuck you're talking about is up? Like that doesn't change anything. He's like, oh, look, all these numbers are so good. Like the stock market, it's so high, but people still feel like they're bad. I don't understand this. And that's why Destiny feels depressed. He's like, well, all these numbers are good, but everyone still feels like it's bad. And I don't understand that. Like that people just don't know, I guess. And people should like that. I think that's the whole loop that Destiny's in. Like people don't give a crap on like what he's talking about. And Destiny doesn't understand why. Like number big is good. So why don't you feel good? Because that number big that's good doesn't affect me whatsoever. But I guess he doesn't understand that.
So what is this like? Well, we were better under Trump. You weren't better under Trump. You were better before COVID, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which was under Trump.
I mean, and the reason that they were better under Trump is because he reversed certain economic trends that had been afflicting the United States since 1971, which was the high watermark for working class wages. They stagnated after that and then began.
Look how fast the freaking chat is going. Not true. Yeah. Yeah. Like it's just hilarious. It's hilarious. Call her a retard. Oh, that's funny. Because like whenever people disagree with whenever people disagree with Destiny, like they're obviously they just have to be retarded, right? That's why his entire audience is like based queen, except for this guy, this Tilban guy. He's more based or normal, or maybe he's just being a troll.
Began to precipitously decline when you factor in inflation. And the reason for that is policy that, if you're a working class person, at the end of the month, there's a certain amount of money in your bank account. And it doesn't matter what you're hearing from conservative media, like that doesn't lie, right? Like there's a certain level of, existential crisis that no amount of media or culture wars or influencers or what have you can fake, right? It's
yes, true. That is such a good rebuttal argument. I'm like, oh, like Destiny's whole thing is like, oh, because the whole control of like the whole conservative media is controlling, or the whole control of conservative media over the media, or like conservatives are controlling the media. I think that was like Destiny's basic point. But like she's like, even if what you're saying is true, Destiny, people are looking at their bank accounts and saying that this is not it. Like their reality is the bank accounts, not whether they're listening to conservative media. Like the bank accounts don't lie. Like, come on now. The number in the bank account does not change based on whether like Tim Pool says things are great or not. Like, come on now. Like, what? That's why I'm like, that's such a good argument against what he just said. And he's like, damn. Like, that's his depressed look. That's his depressed look.
It's a
and
reality
honestly, it just feels so like it sounds kind of bad to say this, but it just feels so good to see. I feel vindicated. It's just, yeah, I don't want to sound like I'm happy that he's depressed. I'm not. It's just hilarious that actually I keep saying he's depressed. He might not be depressed.
You come up against. And the reality is that things were really getting bad for working class people. And Trump reversed that trend. In 2019, we saw the first wage increases for working class Americans in 60 years. If you look at the data,
I did not know
2019, the bottom 25% of wage earners saw 4.5% wage increase, and the top 25% of wage earners only saw a 2% wage increase, which means that Trump was the first president since 1971 to shrink the wealth gap, which is something no one wants to talk about because the free market right obviously really doesn't care and really doesn't want to talk about it, but the left doesn't want to give him credit for that. And you ask, okay, how did he do that? Well, through a series of very intentional policies that started to reverse that trend, policies that had been put in place by, Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, later Joe Biden, amping up some of them. So, immigration is a really good example because the policy was so clear and so obvious. There were 3 executive actions that just made the number of illegal immigrants crossing the southern border plummet. And one of the first things Joe Biden did when he came into office was remove those executive orders, which meant that we saw this crisis at the border and, 10 million, 15 million, whatever the number is, illegal immigrants coming into the country. And what that did was immediately halted the wage growth that working class people saw, because suddenly you had millions and millions of people competing in a very limited number of industries that had been seeing wage increases because of the limit of illegal labor and because, of course, of the post-pandemic labor crunch. So, things like that, where it's like the policy is very, very clear, and the way that it helped very specific struggling working class Americans is very, very clear. So you could say, look,
She yaps
you
a
vote
lot.
this guy in, we're not going to have a country because we're not going to have a democracy, and we can definitely debate that. But to somebody who is a janitor, who started to suddenly see like wage increase, and then to have that taken away by very obvious, clear executive orders because policy really matters, to me, I wouldn't say to that person, you have to put this other higher order thing ahead of whether you can feed your family. Like, to me, I want to live in a
True.
country where working class people who we rely on
Like I
to
meant
survive can achieve the American dream. So
like I mentioned before. Yes, like the argument, like we're gonna talk about this higher order, this arbitrary higher order hierarchy thing that Destiny just came up with. Like, oh, if we don't believe in this higher order thing, we may agree with the lower order stuff, but like the higher order thing is the thing that we don't agree on. So we need to talk about that first thing first. And I'm like, why should some random person that needs to feed his family care about your higher order, like your arbitrary higher order, like stupid nonsense? I keep saying stupid nonsense, but like like, who cares? Why should he care about that stupid shit? Like, why should that guy care about your stupid shit and put your higher order thing over his like ability to feed his family? That's stupid. That doesn't make any sense to me. And Destiny doesn't have an argument against that. He's going to completely ignore that argument, 100%.
that, it's not something that just the elites can achieve, which is sort of where we were headed in the years before. And this is all just, aside from the questions of character, aside from the questions of January 6th, like there is, at the end of the day, for me, this as a person of the left, like this very material reality we're coming up against.
She said, so notice how she says the person on the left. Focus on the chat. Focus on the chat. The chat goes so crazy when she said that, because everyone in Destiny's like chat thinks that they're on the left as well. So when someone that claims to be on the left is talking about supporting Trump, bro, that breaks their brain. It breaks their brain. It's hilarious. Let me like put this down.
Where we in the elites developed and allowed
Focus
this
on the
economy
chat.
to flourish, where we did really well, but the people whose labor we rely on to survive were really struggling.
Person on the left, good one. Person on the left. She keeps going on. Yeah, she talks way too much. Destiny, say something. Left. Person on the left.
And it was, when I first realized this, it was not comfortable for me to admit this. I knew I was going to lose all my friends, but I just feel that the data is very clear about that. And I'm not one to say to a person who has much less than me, struggling much more than me, you have to put my emotional response to this person ahead of.
She said she lost all her friends. Well, guess what, bro? If you don't have friends to begin with, you can't lose any, right? Yeah, sounds kind of depressing, but it's true. Hey, life is fun being single. Life is actually quite fun being single. As a female and a male. But like as a female, you don't really have a lot of time. Let's just say that.
Being able to feed your family.
Okay. I'm going to put a pin on the economic stuff because I disagree with you on every single economic claim you just made. But we can come back and we can talk through all of these if you'd like. Very
They won't.
These, okay. I need a sanity test. Okay. This conversation real quick. Okay. Do we believe? I'm just checking. Do we believe that we can know things that we don't directly observe?
True.
So, for instance,
yeah, there's a limitation to it, but yes, we can. Like if a tree falls in the middle of the woods and no one's there to hear the tree fall, well, then did the tree make a sound? Well, I mean, if we know that the tree fell, then it just had to make a sound, but no one heard it. So we can't be 100% sure that it made a sound. Like it could have fallen on something that absorbed all like 99% of the, like 100% of the impact, which makes no sound waves, but like it still fell. But like we don't know that because all the facts that we know is that the tree fell in the middle of the woods somewhere. We don't know what it fell on. We just know that it fell. It collapsed. It went over. It hit the ground. Usually when things hit the ground, they make sounds, but we don't know 100% sure because it, like I said before, it could have hit something like super soft where it makes no sound. Because if you drop like a bowling ball onto a trampoline, you don't really hear an impact. Usually you just hear the springs kind of coil up, and that's very, 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 very quiet compared to a bowling ball hitting like a glass table. Yeah. That's like the sound difference between those two things are very different. One is much louder and the other one is basically silent. But yeah, like that question, oh, we need a sanity test. We can obviously figure out if whether something is a like if something happens if we don't directly observe it. Like, yes, to an extent, obviously.
If I read a news report and it says, yesterday, a building exploded in New York, can I believe that that probably happened with a high degree of certainty, even if I haven't myself seen it?
Depends which newspaper.
Mainstream newspaper with millions of readers, if multiple papers are reporting it.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Okay. And I can like broadly trust like government figures. If the BLS releases a report, sometimes they've got to do revisions, but like broadly speaking, I can trust like kind of figures that come out, right?
I mean,
Yeah.
it depends which ones. Again, like there's, a lot of people now at this point in our country who, and I guess this would be my overarching claim is like, I feel responsible to you as a person that I admire. Like everything we disagree on, I consider that it's like the burden is on me to convince you. It's not on you to have. And I feel that way doubly so for when it comes to half the country. So if half the country now feels that the Department of Justice has been weaponized against their political choice, right? The sovereign at one time, who's now, of course, an ex-president. But if they feel that way, that is something you and I are responsible to address.
But this is the central thing I'm making. This is the issue that I'm having is
Okay.
Conservatives can cause.
Yeah, Destin doesn't care about that. And that's why he's never going to convince anyone. Destin doesn't care about that. He doesn't care that 50% of the country believes this. He doesn't care. Like, they're just wrong and they're delusional and that's it. Like, that's not convincing anyone. They're just going to destroy democracy. Like, oh, you don't care that I'm claiming that you're destroying democracy? Then there's something wrong with you. Not like he doesn't care enough to actually try and like persuade people to not think that. And that's why he's like, and that's why he's in the state that he's in right now, I guess. Yeah.
This feeling to occur in people and then point to liberals, and then people in the center will point to liberals and go, well, look, the people have these feelings. You have to do something.
Oh, wait. He actually made a good point.
If they feel that way, that is something you and I are responsible to address.
But this is the central thing I'm making. This is the issue that I'm having is
okay.
Conservatives can cause this feeling to occur in people and then point to liberals, and then people in the center will point to liberals and go, well, look, the people have these feelings. You have to do something about it, right? So when you talk about
see, this is the thing that I disagree with. Like, people that are looking at their bank accounts and seeing that it's not that great compared to how it was back in 2018, 2019, that's not conservatives telling them, that's not conservatives being like, hey, taking money out of their bank account just to make them feel that way. It's like, bro, you live in a world where everyone on the other side lives on like the internet. Like, he's comparing people that live on the internet to real life people that don't pay attention to this stuff, but now need to vote. Like, come on, man. It's he literally just doesn't understand that. His comparisons are just off. Like, it seems familiar. It seems like he's actually making good points, but when you really think about what he's actually saying and what he's talking, like, he doesn't know how to distinguish between internet people and people that are like very ignorant to like internet stuff. Like, there's a world of internet people that are hyper focused, like he is. And then there's a bunch of people that are in real life that they're not in that world. Maybe they'll be on TikTok and they'll see a TikTok or a short, but like, that's it. And maybe that's his point. Like, most people are watching TikToks of these people saying that, but like, Destiny, there's a bunch of people watching your TikToks and stuff too. So like, wouldn't that necessarily like even out? Like, come on now. And you got MSNBC, Fox News, because like they deleted Tucker Carlson, and then MSNBC, ABC News, I guess the Washington Post and the Wall Street Journal, all these big outlets, all supporting or giving good credence to, well, not like recently. When I say recently, I mean like in the past week or so. Like, but before the past week or so, they were all basically running water for like Kamala Harris and Joe Biden for at least the past 3.5 years now. Very recently are they actually starting to give out like actual like neutral content between Trump and Kamala Harris, which is actually honestly really good. I like the fact that they're switching that way because I guess they're realizing that Trump might actually just win, so we might as well just play ball and not like bash him over the head with all these nonsense that we did back in 2015 to 2016, all the way up until like I guess last year, or all the way up until like this year of like maybe April, or actually no, before. Oh wait, I think the whole switcheroony when the mainstream media started actually like not like throwing so much divisive stuff was, I think, right after the first assassination attempt between Trump. That's when all these big media corporations started realizing that, bro, we could get sued for throwing this decisive, this really terrible stuff about Trump all the time. And that's when they started dialing everything back down. And seemingly, Destiny would make the argument, oh, they're running water for Trump now compared to back then before the assassination attempt. And I wouldn't make that argument. I would make the argument that they're now being neutral. But I guess Destiny's like, well, they shouldn't be neutral. They should treat Trump like he's a kid or a child. He doesn't deserve any respect. I think that would be a Destiny argument, honestly. I mean, that is his argument, literally. They should treat him like he's a kid or with zero respect. That is Destiny's argument. He did say that. So it's not like I'm saying something that's false. Because I was kind of like, I was what do you call it? I was hedging what I was saying, basically, or hesitating what I was saying, because I didn't want to seem like I'm over exaggerating Destiny's point of view. But let's keep going.
For instance, the weaponization of the DOJ. That's something that Donald Trump has done. It's inarguable. There is no evidence that it's happened under Biden. But because Donald Trump and the conservatives and all of the people lying in media on his behalf.
What do you mean no evidence? Like, bro, isn't the DOJ going after him? Is that like not true? Oh, but I guess that's not evidence. Like, what? Come on now.
Have said that it's happening under Biden, people have that feeling, and then they come back to the liberals and they go, hey, liberal, you need to address the fact that people feel this way. Well, of course they feel that way. Conservatives have been lying to them about it for years.
Okay, so I'm curious what you make of this counter argument. I do think there's a lot of evidence that it's been weaponized, but the right does try to make this happen more frequently than it succeeds at.
Okay, what Destiny should have asked is like, what did she mean by that? Like, what is your evidence? But Destiny didn't ask that, which makes it seem for me to believe that Destiny already knows the answer to what she's talking about, which is nuts. Like, Destiny should have asked her, like, pushed her on that. Like, wait, what evidence? Like, like Destiny just made the opposite claim that she said, but instead of actually like pushing her on that to get more specific, Destiny just let her keep talking as if like he already knows the answer to that question that I wanted him to ask her, which, I mean, you could assume that, but like that. This is just speculation on my part.
Making this happen. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff you see
but
on
he
Twitter
really should have asked her
that they really start to push, and you're like, oh God, this is going to be the latest conspiracy theory. We're going to hear about this forever and ever and ever. And it just doesn't take off. Like, you can see, you talk to people, you go to the local bar, you see it is not taking off. Like, people are just not buying it.
Wait, but people have bought it. All of these.
People have bought that one. People have bought that one. But I'm telling you, like, there's a lot of ones that the right tries to push that people don't buy and people don't talk about and don't want to hear about.
Sure, but I mean, when you're pushing 100 conspiracies and people believe 40 of them, that's a massive success.
Well, or you could say that, some of these like turned out to be true, right? Like the Hunter Biden laptop story, right? Where you had like literally people from, CIA saying like.
he immediately says no. And then she brings up the Hunter Biden laptop thing. And then he's like, oh shit, actually, that is true. I shouldn't have just said no there. Like, his gut response is to just completely like just deny what she's saying. But like what she's saying is true. Like, they were saying that this was like a conspiracy theory, and then it actually became true. Like, this is true. That is true. And now Destiny can't say anything about that. And now Destiny's Destiny's like, oh no, we're jumping around a bunch. And I'm like, bro, Destiny, you're the one that led her into this conversation. Like, you should have. You're gonna, yeah, whatever. Let's just keep going. Like, Destiny's like, no, oh shit. Well, I'm sorry. Like, he understands.
Like, this is Russian misinformation. It turned out to be real, right? Like, that's legit misinformation coming out of the deep state. So
wait, hold on.
Years,
I understand what you're saying. Okay, hold on. Let's back up a second. Okay. It's okay. I'm just curious what we can do. Okay, just one simple thing at a time. Okay, one very, very small thing at a time.
Yes,
okay.
You can know.
Well, you shouldn't have asked those questions, those previous questions, just to lead her down this rabbit hole. Like, Destiny's acting like he has zero. He wasn't like. It's Destiny's fault why she went down that road. Like, he asked that specific question, she gave the answer, and then Destiny basically asked another specific question, and then she gave an answer. And then Destiny disagreed a little bit with the start of her answer. And then she actually started talking about something that was legitimately true. And then Destiny is like, well, actually, we should just go back. But now he's making it seem like that she's going down on a tangent, when it was obviously Destiny's like fault for why she was going down this road in the first place. And she on him instantly remembers what we were talking about in the beginning. The first thing the first question that he ever asked her.
Things that you don't observe.
Yeah. Okay.
Which shows that she's in good faith this
America,
entire time.
Individual citizens don't actually have a right to vote for the president. The states have rights to vote, right? So when you go and you cast your ballot at a state, in a state federal election, the state decides how to run those elections. Most states right now, or every state has said that, okay, well, whoever wins the majority of the votes in our state, we're going to tell our electors to cast that vote for president, with the exception of Maine and Nebraska that kind of divvy it up based on percentages, right? So I vote in a state. I'm in Michigan. 52% of us vote for a candidate. We're actually voting for their electors. Those electors will fill out their ballots, and then on 2020, it was December 14th. They fill them out. The governor signs it, and they say, okay, we're going to send these to Congress to be counted on January 6th. Right? We agree this is the process.
Yep.
Okay. So when Donald Trump has his campaign, not his campaign actually, because most of them wouldn't even go along with it. When he has his personal friends, people like Giuliani or
Yes. We're going to go down the January 6th thing, the thing that happened 4 years ago. Yes. All right, Dustin, let's keep going. Yeah. We're not moving on. We're going to stay in the past. We're going to get stuck in the past. Let's keep going, because this is like the biggest thing in the whole world.
Powell go out, or Mark Meadows, go out and solicit 79 other people to write down that they are the electors and that they were actually chosen by the state, and then to send in 7 different slates from all of the Democrat-won states, to send in 7 Republican ones to the Capitol and say, you should count us instead on January 6th. How is that anything but, that's not like a good faith legal challenge. That's not like a...
Well, no. Guess what, Destiny? They're talking about, there is no official, everything that he's going to say right now is opinion. There's no fact in this. It's just opinion, the way that he feels. It's like, oh, there was no, wait, what did he say specifically? How is that anything but,
that's not like a good faith legal challenge. That's not
good faith legal challenge. What is your how are you the one to say that that's a good faith legal challenge? Isn't this going through the courts? Oh wait, it's not, because of the immunity ruling. Ah, interesting. So I guess that's it. That's the ruling from the Supreme Court. The people that Destiny is basically pro-government. The government said that's the way it is. Come on now, you got to believe in these institutions now, right? Oh, but he doesn't like the immunity ruling because he disagrees with the Supreme Court. And I'm like, okay, Destiny, your credibility is just gone. If you disagree with the Supreme Court and on the criminal immunity thing, then I don't know what to say. There's a reason why, he used to be, he's he loves the institutions. We should believe all the institutions, except for the immunity ruling. Except for the immunity ruling. That one, that's a little too much for me. We need to go down a conspiratorial rabbit hole on that one. That one's just bad. So we don't like that one. We like all the other things, when the states start prosecuting Trump. Yeah, there's some validity there. Yeah, Trump was kind of bad. He did say these bad things. He was kind of bad. He did that bad thing over there. So the state, yeah, I believe the state when they do that towards Trump, 100%.
Not
immunity ruling.
That's
nah.
Trying to steal an election, right?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of this.
You can believe that he's trying to do something, or you could believe that he tried to find every legal avenue to basically I guess maintain be the president. It's delusional. He really believed that he won the election, so he wanted to go through every legal route that he could do possible to remain president, to basically stay as president. But Destiny wouldn't frame it that way. Destiny would be like, oh, he wants to just stay in power, and because he wants all the power. I'm like, what? Why does he want to stay in power? What does he gain from that? Oh, he's the president for 4 more years? Oh, okay. And what happens next? What's the bad thing? Come on now, Destiny.
Hangs on what Donald Trump knew and what he didn't know, at what level he was involved, at what level he wasn't involved. I think a lot of this is being litigated through the
Trump's a billionaire. He doesn't need to be the president. He already has all the power in the world to do whatever he wants. being a billionaire. He doesn't need to be president. Like, come on now. I don't understand like this whole like that he just wants to maintain power. That's the whole reason why the scheme was up. Like, it's just so unconvincing. Like, come on now.
Courts, right? So some of these things were legal, some of these things were not. And
wait,
that's
okay.
all
I'm sorry. I want
currently
to be really specific. So first of all, none of it is being like litigated yet. Donald Trump has said that he needs criminal immunity for all of it. That's his defense. He's saying I can't possibly commit crimes as president. That's it. So none of it is being denied. None of the depositions.
Criminal immunity for things he did as an officer of the, or what's the exact language?
He's seeking criminal immunity for the 4 years that he was president. He might say that it was
for official acts.
President has nothing to do with sending false slates of electors to people. That has absolutely nothing to do with being the president.
Actually, no, it has everything to do with it, actually. And guess what? That's just your opinion. And my opinion is also just my opinion. Because that was not redundant at all. So yeah, what he just said right here, all opinion. There's no fact in this. Like, wait, actually, let me see. What he just said.
What's the exact language?
He's seeking criminal immunity for the 4 years that he was president. He might say that it was
for official acts.
President has nothing to do with sending false slates of electors to people.
Yeah, that's just his opinion. I mean, I would argue that it does. And there you go. That's my claim. Because he just claims that it doesn't. I claim that it does. And he's not going to get into why he thinks that there's no official act. Like he's not going to get into the claim. Like he's just going to say that as if it's true. And I'm going to sit here and say that what the opposite of what he's saying is true. So which one of us is right? Like, I mean, honestly, if you really look at it, like he's a president, he needs to make sure that like he's like the federal government, basically, right? The president's federal government. The election is a federal thing. So why wouldn't he not have any stake in like the federal process? Like there's a connection there. You could argue, oh, it's a weak connection, but I would say it's a very strong connection because it's literally the federal government or a federal process within the federal government. Like, bro, like what do you? He's the president of the federal government. Like, I guess Destiny doesn't see it that way. Like, oh, there's no reason for there's no possible connection between him like maintaining that voter fraud is not like an issue. Like there's no reason for the person that's in charge of the federal government to be interested in anything whatsoever about a federal process within the federal government. Like that makes no sense to me.
Absolutely nothing to do with being the president.
But he didn't send them. That was his,
like absolutely nothing to do with it. Okay, yeah, so convincing.
That was Giuliani.
That worked under his direction, and Giuliani is his personal lawyer.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's sort of under dispute?
What's under dispute?
The degree to which Donald Trump was involved in these efforts.
No,
like
that's why the people.
He thought he had won the election, and his decision, having been convinced that he had won the election, and having never said anything to suggest that he thinks anything other than that, was that he was going to
steal the election. He was going to do a coup.
Avail himself of every legal avenue.
Yeah. See, Destiny's opinion is that Trump is going to do a coup. He tried to do a coup. And my opinion is that Trump went through every legal avenue to try and have 4 more years of president. Like he thought that he won. So he went through every legal avenue to try and maintain the fact that he won, or maintain the belief that he won. Or I guess in Trump's worldview, the fact in Trump's worldview is that he won. So I guess in Trump's world, it's a fact that he won. You could argue that. Yeah, you could argue that. It's kind of delusional and kind of weird to say. But, and I'm not going to continue saying that, but he definitely did believe that he won, 100%. But Destiny thinks that Trump actually believed that he lost and is only lying. He's just lying. He only lied because he wants to stay in power. And then I'm like, okay, if that's true, why does Trump want to stay in power? Well, like he's a billionaire. Like Trump has so much power out of office that he's able to shoot down a border bill. Like, bro. Oh, he wants to stay in power so he can what? Like he already has enough power out of office. Like, come on now. Like, it's just stupid. It's his belief is just retarded. That's his belief in this whole thing is just retarded. Because he literally is going to make the argument that Trump has all this power out of office to shoot down a bill. And I disagree with that framing. But Destiny will make that argument. But then the whole January 6th thing, oh, he wanted to stay in power. For what? For what? He doesn't need to stay in power to do stuff. Like, obviously, he wasn't empowered and he still was able to shoot down a bill, Destiny. So how do you keep those two scenarios in your head at the exact same time when one is literal evidence to the contrary of your other claim? Like, come on now. It's stupid.
Avenue.
But that's not legal. It's illegal.
That he had. Well, that's being.
It's not illegal. No one ever said what he did was illegal. It was ruled immune. So it could be illegal. It could have been ruled illegally, and it could have been ruled not. But for you to just assume that it was ruled illegally just shows that you're just coming up with stuff. This is just your opinion. It's just your opinion, Destiny.
I mean, that's being litigated by the courts, right? I mean, the courts
no, he's saying I need criminal immunity for all of this. That's their defense.
That's a separate. That was a separate court case.
No,
there's a whole fraud case going on. There's a fraud case going on, which hangs precisely on. It is fraud to the extent that Donald Trump thinks he lost and still tried to pursue these legal avenues, and it is not fraud to the extent that he thinks he won, which is, of course, why he very cleverly has never admitted that he lost. Now, again, I'm not defending this behavior.
You are defending it though by saying that it's a legitimate way to.
I'm saying it's not.
It is a legitimate way to do that. So I would be defending it. Yeah.
I'm saying that availing yourself of every legal avenue to prove that.
But that's just my opinion. Like, they're literally going through the court system right now to prove whether my opinion is true or to prove whether Destiny's opinion is true. Like they're like, aren't they like trying to repeal the whole immunity thing or trying to do something like that? Like it is being litigated through the courts. It's just not litigated the way that Destiny wants them to litigate it. It's going through the courts in a different way than what Destiny wants them to go through the courts. But remember, Destiny disagrees with the Supreme Court on the immunity ruling. But apparently he loves the all the systems of government except for the immunity ruling. No, that one's garbage. That one's bad. The one from the Supreme Court, nah, we don't care about the Supreme Court ruling. Not that one.
Is not disqualifying.
It's not legal. They lied. They told 79 different people to lie and say they were the electors. That's not a legal avenue. It's just a lie. They weren't the electors.
This is a red. What is that word? I don't want to say it's a red herring. It's not a red herring. It's. He's saying something like something that's illegal. Whether something's a lie doesn't mean that it's like a lie can be legal or illegal. So saying that it's illegal because it's a lie. That's just that those two things have nothing to do with each other. They literally have nothing to do with each other. Like, it is legal to lie. Like, there's defamation laws, but if you're lying about something that isn't defaming someone, then that's not illegal. Like, you can lie and say that the sky is red. You're not defaming anyone by saying that, but it's a lie. But is someone going to sue you and win? No, it's freedom of speech. Like, bro, argument destroyed. Let's go.
Rudy Giuliani lied.
No, I'm saying that the Trump group, everybody attests that Rudy and Trump were both in the same conversations where in the Trump campaign, when Trump decided to pursue the strategy. That's what all of the deposition, all the testimony, all the people involved have said who aren't part.
When he says when he says all of these pieces of information, he's only talking about the January 6th committee. That's all he's talking about. The January 6th committee, the people that hated Trump and wanted to do some sort of committee to talk about it, and that's what they did, and that's where all of his information comes from. And now he's butthurt that no one believes in him and his evidence based on the January 6th committee. Come on now.
Part of Trump's criminal conspiracy have all said, yeah, Trump and Giuliani. And remember, Giuliani.
This is why I think this is not necessarily worth arguing, because you are convinced that Trump is convinced that he lost, and
yes,
I'm convinced that Trump is convinced that he won.
Yeah, but you have no.
Yeah. Wait. What? But you have no evidence? Is that what he's going to say?
Evidence for that, and there's so much evidence on the other side.
Well,
what is that evidence? What is that evidence, Destiny? Obviously, there is a ton of evidence on why people may think that Trump actually believed it. Well, for starters, he never said that he didn't. He's been consistently saying that he won. So till this day, Trump still believes that Trump still believes that he did not win. So that's one piece of evidence. But I guess that he's well, he's delusional. That piece of evidence is delusional. We're not arguing whether the piece of evidence is delusional or not. It's evidence. Just because you don't like the evidence doesn't make it non-evidence. And then I guess another one would be, Well, I mean, honestly, that's like huge. Because like Destiny's claim is much more hard to prove because apparently Trump is supposed to be lying and he actually did believe that he lost. But where's his evidence that he actually lost? Like I guess well, I mean, all of his evidence, I guess, would come from the January 6th committee and all the nonsense that came out of that, all the biased and terrible framing on that, and that's why people believe. Like, if the January 6th committee thing didn't like actually happen, I think we wouldn't have such a. I don't think Destiny would be thinking the way that he thinks right now. But since some part of the government actually like looked into this and got all this stuff out and started letting and did a whole, I guess, investigation into this, Destiny now has that piece of information to like really argue his point and his belief and what he believes. So, but that's all his information is coming from. It's just the January 6th committee. And I guess some of the reports that came out afterwards. But anything pre that, there's like zero information that he's running off of, which is, I find that very interesting. Like he's so late to the party, super late to the party.
I feel there's a lot of evidence for it. Namely, he's never once admitted that he lost. Which
Wait.
is a lot
So there's no way to know if a person is lying if they just don't tell you they're lying?
That's not what she said. That is not what she said.
Seems to me to be very convinced about it in the way that he's lying. Yeah, you're saying, how can you tell if somebody is lying?
Yeah.
How do we usually tell? How would you know if I was lying? You would judge my affect. You would judge my consistency. You would judge the tone of my voice. You would judge my body language, right? You would judge my
No. I would judge the actions you take. I would look at the actions. So if you were to do legitimate challenges in a courtroom and you were to have what you believe to be is very solid and strong evidence, and you were ardently pursuing what you thought was the right answer, then I'd say, oh, okay. I mean, they have a lot of conviction. But if you were filing bullshit court cases, a lot of them without even standing, asking.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay. So if you were filing bullshit court cases, well, the word bullshit is obviously like he thinks his opinion of the court cases that Trump filed is BS. So he feels like it's BS, not that they're actually BS. Like Destiny's worldview is that he feels like it's BS. Like that's not a fact. That's not a fact at all. That's his opinion. So he's going off of his opinion of Trump's court cases. He thinks that it's BS. There's no fact in that. That's just his opinion. And that's another way that he misleads his audience. He says it's BS as if it's a fact. Like that's not fact. What court ruled that his court cases was BS? Like where's that piece of evidence? How is that a fact? That's just Destiny's opinion.
Courtroom, and you were to have what you believe to be is very solid and strong evidence, and you were ardently pursuing what you thought was the right answer, then I'd say, oh, okay. I mean, they have a lot of conviction. But if you were filing bullshit court cases, a lot of them without even
an opinion,
standing, asking for.
Well, I guess if things are if he's filing something that doesn't, well, actually, I'm gonna let Destiny just speak, and then I'll talk.
Answer, then I say, oh, okay. I mean, they have a lot of conviction. But if you were filing bullshit court cases, a lot of them without even standing, asking for insane remedies in civil cases, engaged in multiple criminal conspiracies to try to overturn an election, and then asking another guy, Pence, to just unilaterally overthrow it for you, which Pence has come out and said that he had been asked to do, I would say, oh, it sounds like you don't think.
No, that's false. Pence was not asked to overthrow the government. No, that's just retarded. That's actually bullshit. That's a lie. That's him misleading his audience. What Pence was asked to do is to use what do you call it? What was the term? What was the legit term? The technical term of there was some sort of thing the vice president could do to just reject electors and just go with an alternate slate of electors, which happened in the past. This is not some new thing that happened. Like this is something that was in some sort of it's a process, but it's like a process that no one really it's a process that doesn't actually happen. It's more of like something you do. What is that word? Like a nostalgic process? No. I mean, the closest thing I can think of is nostalgic. It's just something that you do that was in the process of some sort of vice president thing to managerial. No, that's not the word. Ceremonial. That's the word. It's a ceremonial thing that no one really does anymore. And it's funny because like Destiny's like, oh, well, he never had the power to do that. If he never had the power to do that, then why then after 2020 did they change that that specific thing that they were talking about within the indictments. Like, why did they change that? Like, if the vice president didn't have that power, why did they go in and change the text of that, of how they wrote out that ceremonial process? Like, if that was true, then if what Destiny was saying is true, that he never had the power to do that, why did they change it after they told Pence to like do that ceremonial process that he could technically do but didn't do, because he just, I guess, Pence was like, I don't know, I don't want to do it, didn't want to do it. And obviously it's up to the vice president to do it, and he chose not to. And what happened after that? Well, Trump like left office and Biden came in, and then they immediately changed that ceremonial process that everyone keeps talking about. And yeah, but I think I'm gonna have to leave it here, because it's time for me to disappear. So yeah, we're done, boys. We're done. Stream is over. Thanks for watching. For anyone that actually did watch this, we'll continue this later. We're only at 38 minutes in, and I have over what, 2 hours of 2 hours and 10 minutes of content. It's just great. It's just great.